So you want to be the best you can be, right? Becoming the best you. That's what we're going to talk about this week on Flipping Genius. If you buy and sell vehicles for a profit, or you want to, you're in the right place. This is the Flipping Genius podcast. Our number one goal is to help our listeners make more money. Every episode, we share information, ideas, and experiences of real-life car flippers. I'm Randy Lee. I'm the host of Flipping Genius. I've flipped cars most of my life. For over a dozen years now, I've been a licensed dealer. I am working to build the best podcast about successfully flipping cars for a consistent profit. Let's get to it, flippers. Hey, I want to thank you for listening, for watching the Flipping Genius all year long. We're wrapping up year number 3, our third season, and I want to tell you how much I appreciate those of you who watch and listen every single episode. It means a lot. I appreciate you who reach out to me and share your ideas and your questions and your suggestions, and I invite everybody to do that. You can reach me at flippingquestions@gmail.com. You can find everything Flipping Genius at our website, flippinggenius.com, with one G, flippinggenius.com. Sorry, I don't have the fancy background behind me today on the video, but we're in a little bit of a transition here at the office, and I shut down my green screen and stuff, so it's just me, a little bit of blur back here, so I'm not in outer space or anything. But getting back to it, today we're talking about becoming the best you, and I'm kind of excited about the concept of this. My wife and I talked about it the other day when we were doing a little planning meeting that she and I were doing, and we just talked about how we as humans, not just as flippers, but as humans, have so many different elements. You know, I'm a brother, and I've been a son. My parents are long gone now. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a coach. I'm a businessman. I'm a Christian. I'm a friend. You know, there's a lot of things that I am. A lot of things I've become over the years. Like I mentioned, you know, a lot of different things that I have done professionally, that I have done semi-professionally. And the thing is, every single one of those, I try to do the best of my ability. Now, kind of pick your own fights, right? When I get on the golf course, I'm not trying to be the best golfer I can be. I just be honest. The biggest thing about golf for me is finding golf balls and being out in nature and hopefully enjoying a little time with people I care about, like my brothers or my son. But as far as the golf game goes, I don't invest that much into it. I don't deserve to be that good. It's fun when I have a good hole, but I don't go crazy when I have a bad one. So I think what I learned from that is you know, you have to have priorities. You know, what's important to you, and those things that are important, I think it's important that you do the best you can and try to get better at it. If you've listened to my podcast, you've heard me talk about goals, setting goals, tracking goals, and I tell you, I live that. I'm not just a bunch of hype. Just to give you an example, one of my goals this year was to walk 1,800 miles, and that's a lot of miles. And like they say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so every day, it has grown to be an obsession with me that I will walk. I will walk. And most days I'm walking 5 to 7 miles a day. It was yesterday, I think I walked 2 miles. I had a bunch of stuff to do. I just did not have the time to hit the streets walking. It bugged me. It really bugged me. But I'll tell you this, I'm at over 1,750 miles for the year. Today is December 8th, I believe, 2022. So I am on target. I'm going to hit that 1800. I really was hoping I would hit 2000, but I won't get that, but I will get to 1800. And there's a whole bunch of goals like that are in my goal sheet. I don't have it at my side at the moment, or I'd be waving it at the camera and talking about it. But every morning, every single morning, I sit down and I track those goals. Those include income goals from my flipping business. They include income goals from my other business interests. They include exercise goals. My goal this year, straight up, my goal was to get to 220 pounds. I started the year at 283 pounds, I think. I am currently at 225, so I got to get 5 more pounds off, and I am determined to do that. To track this stuff all the time. I track it all the time. I track every deal that I make. I know what the numbers are, and I know what that's going to translate. See, the beautiful thing about this is sometimes it's hard to change the current season. And you think about it in football. You do everything you can to win those games, and you want to change that current season, but you're going to have an even better chance at changing next year because you take a look at, what you did this year. And with car flipping, I know what my averages are as far as what I spent on cars, what I invested in the cars, what I cost to sell the cars, and what my net profits were. And I've been doing it for now. I think this is my 14th year of being a licensed dealer. I've been flipping cars for a long time. Like a lot of you guys, I for a long time I did 1 or 2 a year, but I've been a licensed dealer for 14 solid years, and I have those records to look back on. And it's good to have the records to go all the way back. But the fact is that this is a growing, rolling, changing business, like all businesses, and the current numbers are the numbers that are probably going to affect next year the most. And so it's important to track your goals, know what they are, make them meaningful, and track them and try to exceed them. Try to be the best you can be at every element. And think about when you are flipping cars, think of all the elements that you are inside that equation. You are a buyer, you are a marketer, you are a cleaner, you are a manager. You probably don't do everything yourself. You are probably hiring some of these things done. For me, it's the detailing. For me, it's the mechanical work. For me, it's body work. For me, it's most everything. Honestly, I'm mostly a marketer. A buyer and a marketer. Buy low, sell high. That's the main thing that I do. But in between, I delegate. So I'm a delegator. That was the word I was trying to think of. and there's so many things that you do, and you want to be the best you can be at those things. But is it worth it to go to the mattresses on every single thing? No. You have to know what's important, and you have to manage that. And that's what we're going to talk about today, about setting yourself up for success. And when we come back, we're going to get down and dirty on that. Okay, where do you want to be? That's a question I've been asking for a long time. It was interesting the other day. My beautiful bride said, "Do you still set 10-year goals, Randy?" No, I'm 62 years old. You know that. I've said that quite a bit lately. When you get to a certain age, you start thinking, "Wow." I start meeting people who are younger than me that I think are old. I start meeting people who are old that aren't that much older than me. I start reading, hearing that somebody my age is not with us anymore. And so the 10-year goal seems pretty optimistic, maybe. What about the 5-year goal? What are you going to do in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? Recently, my favorite football team, the Wisconsin Badgers, has been going through some coaching turmoil. We had a fantastic coach, Jimmy Leonard, one of the greatest Badgers of all time, had been our interim head coach. And he didn't get the deal, and um, Luke Fickell from Cincinnati is the new head coach at Wisconsin. Really excited about him. And it looked like Jimmy and Luke were going to work together. Maybe Jimmy would stay on, even though they didn't give him the head job. And Luke asked Jim, where do you see yourself in 10 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Ask yourself those questions, because that's going to tell you where you're going to see yourself next year. And as it worked out, whatever that answer was for Jim Leonard, probably the greatest Badger to ever play football there. There's a lot of reasons. But Jim answered that question for himself, and he didn't come back, and makes us sad. But that's a question that you should be asking yourself. And I do ask myself. As I come to the end of this year and as I start to plan, I will ask that question: where am I going to be in 10 years? Now, it's a lot different now than it was when I was 22, 32. Where am I going to be in 5 years? I want that out there. But then we're going to break it down, and we're going to break it down, and we're going to see, where am I going to be at the end of next year? That's really what I want to talk about today. But don't forget the others. Don't forget 10 years. Don't forget 5 years. Don't forget 3 years. Break it down. Ask yourself that question. Ask where you want to be, and break it down any way you want. As you heard me talk about, I break it down into physical fitness goals, and I also have a lot of social goals that involve my family and friends. I have goals about what I'm doing right now with you, getting better at what I do, reaching more people out there, doing what I can to reach you. Those are all part of my plan. I've got, I can't remember, 17, 25 pages worth of goals. It's a bunch. And I'll have probably more this year, because there are battles that I want to fight, things that I think are important, and the things that I think are important, I keep track of. So that's what I want to talk to you about. I do encourage you to go back and listen to, I think it's episode number 2, and like episode probably around episode 52, and probably about this time every year. We're talking about this. We're talking about goals because it's important to you. It's important to me. What is the old thing? If those who fail to plan to fail, and you don't mean to, but you do. And I know Mike Tyson says everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face, and it's really true. But the fact is that without a plan, and getting punched in the face, you're not even close to where you need to go. But having a plan, having goals set forward that you can track and chase and keep track of, will make all of the difference in the world. It is huge. So break it down into trackable events. For instance, one of my goals is that I want to spend X number of times with my children every year. My son Tony and I are the closest. We spend more time together. I believe that my goal for the year was to spend about twice as much time with him than with my daughter-in-law or my stepdaughter. Not that I don't want to spend time with them, but I'm just being realistic. Tony and I play golf together. We hang out together and have breakfast. But I have all that tracked out. It's important to me. I have it with the girls too. I track it out, how often we get together. I have a goal for how many letters I write to people for personal reasons. I have a goal for how many miles I walk. I have a goal for just about everything that is important to me. How many vehicles I'm going to sell. And then I break it down to how am I going to sell those vehicles? Where am I going to buy those vehicles? I'm tracking that stuff all the time. I wanted to read a dozen books this year. There's another goal I set. Well, it turns out in my walking, I actually listen to books, and I also read some of those books. I combo and my read and listen. I've listened to and read 55 books this year. That's pretty cool. It's one of my favorite things. I plan to do it again next year. I don't know right now how many. I don't know if I'll set a goal of 55. I know I can do it if I just keep walking, and it's so much fun. So track all that stuff. Track anything that's important to you. Sometimes it's not devastatingly important. Still a good idea to get some victories. So even track the ones that you know you're going to get. That's okay. That's okay. Why not set yourself up for some victories, I say. So, among my 17 or 25 pages of tracking, goal tracking, yeah, there's some ones in there that are probably automatics for me because I've just set up a formula, a pattern of consistency, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But then again, if I was not tracking them, would I follow through with those? I don't know. I don't know. I had a great friend of mine, Henry Thornton, stop by today and say hello. And Henry said that he still listens to the podcast, and I appreciate that. And it struck me that Henry and I have not seen each other maybe in over a year. I think we talked a couple times, maybe once or twice. And I mentioned this because this is another goal that's important to me, is friendships. And I felt bad about it. I mean, it's not that I've thought about stopping by Henry's business. It's just around the block from me, just about a mile from me. And I drive by there all the time, but I'm always busy, and he's always busy. He stopped by my business today, and we sat and talked, and it meant a lot to me. And when I see something like that, I realize that I dropped the ball, at least with Henry, and I know I dropped the ball socially with some other folks too. Even though it's on my goal sheet, I didn't reach that goal. That's a goal that I'm not at. I had a goal for how many letters I wanted to write this year. I'm not there. I might get it out. I might get it before the end of the year, because this is kind of the thing I do at the end of the year. I try to reach out to people. Now you may say, Randy, what in the hell does this have to do with flipping cars? Well, it has everything to do with it, man. Whatever is important to you, set it up, write it down, break it down, and then track it. I'm not going to go any further than that. That's really how it is. And if you want more details, go to episode number 2, listen to that. Go back and just search goals on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. I think we're going to be coming out on is it Google Podcasts? I think Amazon Podcasts. We have Amazon Music Podcasts. I think we'll be there. Most places where you can listen to the podcast. Go to check us out on YouTube. Most of the episodes, the most recent episodes, are there. You can hear a lot of me break down my goal talks, and I even have some downloads I'll send you if you ask that show you how I track goals, and it gives you something to work from. You can just work backwards from mine if you so desire. Still doing that for no charge. Really, probably ought to charge for it. I'll tell you what. Yeah, you want a download of it? Send me $1. Let's get $1 for a download now. What the hell? Got to get some money somehow. That means that you'll have a little bit invested. You'll use it then. If you've got questions about this, you want to reach out to me, please do. flippingquestions@gmail.com, or just interact with me on the Car Flipping Forum. If you're not a member of the Car Flipping Forum, you really ought to be. It's a very beneficial thing. We've got over 700 members, and it's growing. Some really good folks on there that know a lot about car flipping, sharing some stuff. Some real young guys like you've heard on the episode before. Some old guys that know way more than I do. Some guys who are in the middle that know more than I do, and some ladies too. I don't mean to cut you out, but there's a lot of folks on there learning about what we do with car flipping and trying to share the things that they learn and share their questions, and it's a good thing. Just go to Facebook groups and search Flipping Genius, you'll find the car flipping forum there along with other sales groups. Or go to flippinggenius.com, FLIPPINGENIUS.com, and you'll find links to all the stuff that I'm talking about, including our resources page with savings opportunities that you can save on memberships, information, products, things that we've set up. Hey, it's getting close to Christmas time, and I'll try to keep cranking these things out each week. I apologize, I'm not been diligently right on the mark, but I'm trying to get at least one episode out each week, and I'll try to firm that up going into next year. But for right now, I hope you'll forgive me that I'm recording this on a Thursday instead of dropping it on Wednesday morning. But that's just the reality of I guess the holiday season. So if you've got something you'd like to share, reach out to us. If you got somebody that you think that you should share this with, please share it. Share it on social media. Send them an email. Tell them about it. Just say, hey, search Flipping Genius. You'll enjoy this. It's gonna make you money. Hey, thanks again for consistently listening, making Flipping Genius the #1 podcast about car flipping any place on the planet right now. Pretty exciting, and making our YouTube channel grow. If you're not already subscribing to the YouTube channel, please subscribe. We need to get to 1,000 viewers so that YouTube will actually give me a nickel every now and then, and the nickels add up, and invite you to become a flipping team member or a flipping partner or a flipping champion. You'll see how to do that on our website. This gives us an opportunity to work with you one-on-one, do a little bit of coaching with you, and help you succeed. I'd love the opportunity to do that and to help you grow your business. Hey, thanks for listening. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Hope you make some money. Let's all work together. Let's make some money. Let's all become flipping geniuses.